Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
What are we doing?
We are getting ready for the Summer Olympics in the best way possible with books.
Yeah, because I won't watch. I don't watch the Olympics. Oh no, I get bored out of my daggone mind. Unless it's winter and it's ice skating, then I might watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm tired. Look at my eyes.
So we are at Readers and Writers in Seattle, so we're excited we get to be together, and then by the time they watch this, we will be in Canada.
We will be.
At Romancebooktuber. Rockies.
The Olympics will be starting.
And the Olympics will be starting. So what we've done is we have a list of events that happen in the Olympics, and then we have a list of books that may feature something like that.
Yes.
Or very close to it. So let's get started with that.
Yes, so enjoy the Summer Olympics through books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so what's the first one?
First up, we have archery, Jessica.
Oh, okay. So this was hard. Mandy was like, "What have you ever read a book with archery?" And I was like, "Well, technically, yes." And I know that this one's popular, and we've talked about it a bunch. But this is Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. There is archery because Pestilence has a bow and arrow. So this is about Sarah and Pestilence. Pestilence is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Hey guys, you know how when we switch and you just see the one of us talking? It's because Mandy can laugh at that point.
You're really loud today. I feel like
Am I what? Oh, because I felt like when we recorded yesterday, I was quiet. And I'm not. Okay, so anyhow, Sarah is a firefighter in Winthrop, Canada, in Winthrop, BC, and she is tasked with destroying Pestilence. He's going, he's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. When he goes through your town, everybody dies. He goes through on his trusty steed, and he has his bow and his quiver and his bow and all that good stuff. Anyhow, so she waits on the side of the road for him, and she tries to kill him, and it doesn't work, and so he takes her. So it is forced proximity, it is captive, it is post-apocalyptic, it is, it is really good. The whole series is amazing, but he has a bow and arrow. So,
okay.
Yeah, there's something on my special edition. We're gonna have a problem. Okay,
so next up is badminton.
I can't believe you read a book of badminton.
This is called The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare, and in it they play badminton.
Okay.
So we have the Duke of Ashbury, who has returned from the military, and he was injured in war, and so he is scarred, and he's like scarred up and has like a limp, and he was engaged, and his fiance calls off the engagement. And we have Emma, who was the seamstress. This is historical romance. I don't think I added that in. Now things are making way more sense for people. So Emma was the seamstress who designs this wedding gown, and she's not gotten paid for it, and she desperately needs the money. So she puts the gown on and goes to his house and demands money for it. So he decides that he really needs an heir, and nobody's going to want to marry him because he feels like he's now hideous and his fiance left him. So he tells her, let's get married. You're going to have my baby, and then you and the baby will go off and live your life. I will support you, but that's all I can give you. And she agrees because she really needs the money, but she decides that she's going to wear him down and kind of force him to be a family. So she makes him play badminton with her. She calls him sweet little names that he hates, but it's so funny. She'll be like, Muffin, darling Muffin, and things like that. So they have the marriage of convenience, but it's her trying to get him to see that he still has great worth. Okay. Really enjoyed it. And yes, they play badminton.
Okay.
All right, next up, we have basketball.
Okay.
You're going to start us off, and then I have a basketball
book
too.
Yay.
I do.
I know, I read some that aren't necessarily on our list too, so
okay.
When we get to them, we'll figure those out. But Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This is another popular one, but if you haven't read it, it is good. Definitely check triggers. There are some dark things that happen in here. There's some things that can be triggering. This is a very emotional book for basketball, but it is about August and Iris. So August is a NBA player, and he meets Iris, and is that for me?
No.
Aw, dang it. Anyhow, he meets Iris, and they have this instant connection. But what he doesn't realize is that Iris is actually dating another NBA player, and this guy is a rival player to August's team. And this leads them to having, thank you. They have a very instant connection. Mandy actually has her notes here. She read it recently. But she's dating this guy. He turns out to not be a very good guy. This is a very slow burn because they have this attraction, but she's dating this guy who treats her horribly. And it takes quite a while before they can get to their situationship, before she can get out of that relationship. And they kind of have a lot of hits and misses in their friendship relationship off and on. But NBA, that means they play basketball. Yes. There's lots of basketball in this book. It's a really, really good book. If you haven't read it, if you're one of the few people out there who haven't read it, I suggest reading it. And you can read it as a standalone, even though it is the second in a series. So,
speaking of books that no one's read, I have The Right Move by Liz Tomford. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But again,
okay,
that's the second one.
This is the second one. So we have, in the first book, we meet Stevie and we meet her brother Ryan. So this is Ryan's story. Ryan just became the captain and he's the point guard of the professional basketball team. He's very, very well known, but he is extremely guarded. He doesn't get seen dating people. He doesn't bring people to his house. Like, he is very much closed off. Okay. And Indy is Stevie's friend, and Indy comes home early and finds her boyfriend cheating on her in their apartment. So she moves out, but she has nowhere to go. So Stevie convinces her brother Ryan to let Indy live with him. He is not happy about it because he's very closed off, right? Okay, so she moves in, and somehow, I can't remember exactly how, but they end up somewhere together where I think she needs a ride or something. And the manager or the owner of the team is there, and he just was told that, like, if he really wants to be more successful, he has got to show a different side of himself and not just be basketball. And so he just is like, introduces her as his girlfriend, doesn't tell her anything. Ooh. He's just like, this is my girlfriend, Indy, because he kind of is panicking after this news. And so Indy ends up going along with it, and then this turns into like some fake dating. But Indy kind of just breathes some life back into Ryan, and Ryan kind of helps her see that she does still have worth. It's so good. Okay. But there's a lot of basketball since that is his career. Okay.
So can these be read as standalones?
You can read them as a standalone.
It's good to know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have beach volleyball.
I don't have anything. Go watch Top Gun.
I have a volleyball one when we get to volleyball.
So do I.
And then there's breakdancing.
I didn't realize that was an Olympic sport.
It's on the list.
Okay. Nope, no breakdancing. Sorry, guys.
Boxing.
Okay, so boxing was hard because all the books that we've read have MMA.
Yes.
And I think that, you could easily go with like Cora Riley's Kimura Chronicles because they all do MMA. But I did pull this one out, which I've talked about before. It's older, it's popular, but it is Real by Katie Evans. This is the story of Brooke and Remy. Remy is an MMA fighter, and Brooke was an Olympic hopeful. She was a runner. We could have used this for track and field.
I have one for that.
Oh, good. She was a runner, and she tore her ACL twice in the Olympic tryouts, or when she was going up to be in the Olympics. And so now she is a sports therapist, and she's just graduating college and getting her degree in that, and she's just graduated. She goes to a underground MMA fight with her best friend who talks her into it, and they're in Seattle somewhere, just like we are. We're in Seattle somewhere.
Wow.
Yay! And Remy sees her and like chases her out of the arena area because she can't stand to see somebody getting beat up and getting hurt. And then from there, he ends up offering her a job as his sports therapist, and she goes on tour with him. There's a lot more to the story. There is some you definitely want to check triggers because of some mental health representation in here. Remy has a few issues, but he becomes absolutely obsessed with her. But my favorite thing is their song is Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, and it just makes me think of high school. Yeah. It just makes me think of us. Like, they reference that song quite often in this book, and I just then go, oh, I gotta go find my Goo Goo Dolls CD. Where's the CD? I know where it is, honestly.
Your dad probably threw it away.
No! Oh, no, Jeff, my husband has it in his CD tower that nobody's touched in 15 years. I have the download on my phone. Anyhow.
All right, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
This chair, guys, is really obnoxious. Let me just say. Woo, okay. If I sit back. Okay, anyhow, go.
Okay, next up we have canoe/kayak.
Oh, that's
is what
me.
they put on there.
Okay, so we might be stretching it slightly.
No, we're not. This one's
No, this is awesome. But I have Roe by Dylan Page. This is the story of Roe and Kate. Kate, this takes place in the early 70s or mid 70s, I can't remember, it's in the 1970s, before technology. And Kate is just, she's in that college age, and she and some girlfriends from college decide that they're going to kayak this river in a national forest in Oregon that has just opened up. Like, people haven't been allowed in this forest for like 20, 30 years. They're going to kayak. Well, the girl who is in charge of the kayaks is a dumbass, and she goes off the map. Like, she doesn't stick on the route that they're supposed to go, which leads them into a very dangerous situation. The kayaks crash and tip over, and then Kate gets separated from the girls, and she doesn't know what happened to the other 3 girls in their party, I think. And that leads her into the wilderness, where she stumbles across cavemen. You heard it right, cavemen. Like, they live in caves, because you're in this national forest that has not, like, you don't have satellites and things flying over, so it's easily believed. And that is where we meet Roe, and Roe decides that Kate is his. Kate is his, and he takes her to live in his cave with him. I know it sounds crazy, but I love it so much. And there's another book coming out real soon where we'll see what happened to one of the other girls who crashed in her kayak as well. Moral of the story: stick with the plan on the kayaking trip, or you might end up with a caveman. I wonder if you post to that. Okay, guys, so we had a file corruption situation with part of our video, and so you're gonna get us separate for a chunk of this, and then together for another chunk. So we're gonna re-record that, and yeah, that was fun. So Mandy will pick up where we left off in that last one with the Katie Robichaud book, which was for what sport again?
Well, I'm just going off of what you told me was happening. So hopefully this is right. So we are on climbing.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I have Before the Lie by Katie Robichaud. And this is about Vi. And Vi is like a very socially awkward, like she's described like this in the book. And she spends pretty much all of her time at the rock climbing gym. And her mom would drive her there, and she would rock climb all day, and then her mom would take her home. Like, I mean, it's a problem how much this girl spends there. And this is where she meets Corbin. Corbin comes in, and because she's always there, she helps with people. I can't remember if she actually has a job there or if it's more like a volunteer thing. But she ends up working with Corbin, getting him like in the gear and everything, all that safety stuff. And they kind of hit it off, and he really likes her. And so he's in the military, so this kind of starts their relationship. But the story starts off in a pretty heartbreaking way, and you don't understand why what happened. And so it's really, really important to check triggers. There's some pretty big ones in this book. And then at the end, the author gives more an explanation of why she chose to write the book she did. So it kind of makes it all come together. So this is very good, but I don't want to give anything away. But it is very heavily centered on rock climbing in the gym.
Okay. And we also, we remembered that in the Morgan Brothers series, the second book we think in the Morgan Brothers series has, by Lauren Rowe, also has a rock climbing scene at in like a gym.
Well, they open a gym.
They open a gym, and it has a rock climbing wall. And I'm pretty sure it's the second one. So it's either the first or the second, but I'm pretty sure second.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, we have cycling.
I didn't get anything for cycling.
That was your assigned Olympic sport.
I'm sorry, but I did not find anything for cycling. I had to think like, oh, wait, I have an idea for cycling. Oh, Archer's voice. She rides her bike to Archer's house in the beginning a lot. I don't remember what happens in that book though. It's by Mia Sheridan. It's a really loved book. Our heroine she flees to a small town for a reason. And then she runs into the town recluse, which is Archer. He was in an accident when he's little. He does not speak. She knows ASL because her dad did. And, things happen. Just trust me if you haven't read it. It's a very, 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 very popular. I want to say I had it over here. Nope, I moved it. But very popular. Read Archer's voice. She rides a bike. There, I did cycling. Yay!
All right.
Okay.
Diving.
I have a diving. He's a swimmer. He's an Olympic swimmer. But we're going to call it diving. So that is Fresh Meat by Jasmine Miller. And it has been years since I read this. But this is about Amelia or Millie and Jace, who is a professional swimmer. Jace gets a call and finds out that he has a 2-year-old son or a toddler, and the mom is no longer in the picture. And so he is, like in the middle of all this swimming stuff, and he just can't give everything up, but he wants his kids. So he hires Millie to be his nanny. And so it is a nanny sports romance. It was really good. I really enjoyed it back then. So there you go. Dive into that one. See what I did there?
Oh my gosh. Equestrian. I've read a lot of books with barrel racing and that sort of stuff, but equestrian is very different.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you to read a cowboy romance where they ride a horse, but it's not the same.
Yeah. All right. Fencing.
You put up fences.
Yes.
Okay, I have the fencing book.
Okay, while you talk about it, I'm going to take a quick note.
Okay. Are you done?
No, I'm waiting for you to be done while I take a nap.
Okay. So this one, Corrupt, obviously, it's very, very, very popular by Penelope Douglas. But they do have fencing in this one. So Erica is our heroine, and she did something before the book starts that put Michael and his buddies in prison for, I think it was 3 years. Yeah, 3 years when she was first in high school. And now they are out of prison. They're a little bit older than her. I want to say they were only like a year older than her. Now they're out of prison and they're back in town for revenge. And that is where Michael, she always had a crush on him or whatever, but she still put him in prison for whatever reason. And she does fencing. She does fencing with the swords. So we do see that in here, but she and him have a very tumultuous situation when they get together. And they call it Devil's Night. It's her Devil Night series because it takes place the night before Halloween. And like, that's when she got them arrested, or the incident happened that got them arrested. And then now we are 3 years later, the night before Halloween. So, if you haven't read it, it's worth reading. It's kind of a high school situation, but I was still okay with it. So, Okay. What's next?
Okay. Field hockey.
No,
I don't have any field hockey.
No.
Lots of like Winter Olympics hockey I could do, but
yeah.
Field hockey now. Okay, golf.
No, but you do.
That's mine. Yes.
That's you.
Okay, so mine is a stretch, but it's hilarious, so it's well worth mentioning. So I have Mr. Masters by T.L. Swan. We have Brielle, who really stretches the truth to get a nannying job. And so her and her friend get these jobs. They leave, I think it's Australia, and they go to the UK. And her friend goes one way, and she goes to Mr. Masters' house. And she believes she's going to be working as a nanny for I think she thought it was like a female judge, right? Or something. And so she is shocked when she finds out that Julian is Mr. Masters and that there is no Mrs. And we don't know what happened to the mom. It's a little bit of a
Mhm.
mystery. The kids, it's a very stifling house that it's turned into, and her presence alone really starts to kind of change things, and Julian's not sure how he feels about that, but he's also extremely attracted to her, but he wants to keep things very professional, so he starts emailing her rendezvous information, and once a week they get together, and then they basically pretend like they don't even know each other the rest of the time. And
Mhm.
he goes off to go golfing with some buddies, and she decides that she's going to take the kids and go golfing. And she rents a golf cart, and she has no idea what she's doing. And they're just out there having a fun time. And then she sees Julian, kind of panics, and then runs him over with the golf cart. It is hilarious, like
Mhm.
laugh out loud in the book funny. So when golf was on this list, I'm like, I have to do that book.
Yeah. And I love it. And I've said it before when you've talked about this book. This is what would have happened if someone had given us a golf cart when we were in high school or in our 20s. Somebody would have been in the hospital.
Okay.
Probably us for falling out of the golf cart after hitting someone. But yeah.
Have you seen those on Facebook or the reels? And there's one where I think they must have been drunk and they come around and the guy tries to like step out of the golf cart while it's still going and
Oh
he
my
like falls
gosh.
flat on his face. And then there's another one where I think it's a woman driving and she hits the brakes suddenly and the guy just topples out the front of the golf cart.
I need at least safety netting on the sides of mine. Otherwise, we're going to
There
do.
was plexiglass on the front and he just hits it and the plexiglass comes out and he topples out. It was funny.
Yeah. So nobody's ever
Okay.
trusted us with the golf cart. What's
So
next?
speaking of toppling,
Yeah.
gymnastics.
Oh, I think we each have a gymnastics book.
Yes. So we both, when we recorded together, we both brought our Off Balance series. The first one, Balance by Lucia Franco.
Mm-hmm.
You have original cover and I have a hand-me-down.
You have my hand-me-down because I got the original. This is the one where, so this book, if you don't know, got banned because of the age of the heroine. It was age of consent in Florida, but it didn't fly on Amazon, and so it got rewritten. And so the first two books are when she's really young, but I have the original. So you got my other one. So yay! You're welcome.
Okay, so I think what we did is you talked about this one.
And then you talked about the next one.
Yeah, so I can put this here and take a nap while you
Cool.
talk.
So I'm going to put mine down while Mandy holds hers up. So this is about Rhea Inkova. Rhea wants to be an Olympic gymnast. She's 16, right? She's 16, Mandy, in this. And her dad finagles it with a buddy of his. Oh, you're going to make me laugh. Her dad finagles it with a buddy of his to get her into the gym to become trained for the Olympics. And the person who runs that gym is Kova. Now she's behind all the other girls as far as gymnastics goes, especially for getting into the Olympics. So he starts training her. He really doesn't have a lot of faith in her in the beginning, but he starts training her. He himself
he does.
Oh yeah, he does. Oh yeah. He himself is an Olympic gymnast. He was he did the rings, where that's where he, I can't remember if he was gold or what he was, but yeah, he did that. Anyhow, so he kind of has like a living girlfriend and a situation, and she's really young. He's in his 30s, and
and he's an asshole.
Like,
but you love him.
Asshole. He's Russian, so you can picture him with a Russian accent. I really wish the audio would have the Russian accent, but it doesn't.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. Because I haven't listened to it, but that is what one of our friends told us. So anyhow, but there is audio for it now. It is a 6-book series. It was 5 books when I read it, and I read it within a matter of days. Just be forewarned that this is probably one of the smaller books. And it is. And it will consume you. But it's so angsty and so good.
I was working, teaching, and I would come home from work and read way into the night, and my husband would want to go to bed, and I would sit in the bathroom
and read. Yeah,
I
I had
read and then go
recently.
to work on just a couple hours of sleep and reread that until I got all 5 books done. I like devoured them. I couldn't stop.
No, you can't. You can't stop at all.
And I all 5 were out, and then the 6th book came out like later. But
Yeah,
the 5 that you need to read for the series are all out at
yeah,
once.
yeah. The
And
sixth was
nothing
just kind
ever
of
felt
bonus.
repetitive. I know
No.
sometimes when you're like, wait, there's 5 books. Like I've read duets before and I'm like, oh, this really could have just been 1 book. You
Yeah,
do not feel like that in this.
yeah. And I read it. I had just had one of my reconstruction surgeries, and so it was a few days after that when I picked it up, and so all I did was lay in bed and read. Like I was supposed to lay in bed anyway, but all I did was just lay in bed and read for days and days and days. So good. So, okay, what is your gymnastics recommendation?
Okay, I have Burnout by Rebecca Jenchak.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's right, Jessica. I'm
I hope so too. It's how
trusting
I
you.
say it. I know you are.
Okay, so this is the first book in the Holland Brothers series, and Avery is an Olympic gymnast.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. No, I'm kidding. So she's an Olympic gymnast, and so it's kind of like this friendship thing where her friend is dating a motocross rider who performs, I know it as Nitro Circus, but they call it something else here, the tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that, and his friend Knox is also a motocross rider, but he gets in an altercation with his teammate, and his team lets him go, and he's having a hard time finding a team to get with. And so his friend says, hey, you should come join us doing this. And so he tries it and realizes that it's actually a lot harder than he thought. And his friend's like, hey, I worked with this Olympic gymnast. She really helped me with a lot of these tricks and things. Let me get you two hooked up together and try it. Well, they've already met and they don't realize that who they're agreeing to work with,
Mm-hmm.
basically. They didn't really get along. So this definitely kind of has light enemies to lovers
Yeah.
feel here while she's trying to help him. And he's also dealing with quite a bit of stuff on his shoulders as well. So there's some stuff going on,
Yeah.
that's got to be worked out through the book. But I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. I did too. And Teddy Hamilton narrates it, which is like a whole bonus. Like it's just.
So, in the comments, let me know how long you think it's going to be before I'm on Dateline trying to defend Crazy Pants here for whatever happens to Teddy Hamilton.
This weekend?
I had
Anybody?
no idea,
No.
Keith Morrison, that she was going to react that way.
Look, it'll be on the Canadian news if something happens. So anybody who has the Canadian news, no, I'm a good girl. Anyhow, what's the next one?
Is that the clip they're going to use on Dateline?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next up, Jessica, it's one that was assigned to you. Handball.
Any book that we have read typically has somewhere where a hand and balls come in contact. So there you go. All of BJ Alpha's books.
Okay. And then your next one was judo.
Yeah. So we, I can't remember what exactly it was. We went with martial arts in general because I want to say it was like Krav Maga that the guy did, but still, we're gonna talk about it. And I'm so saying that wrong, I'm sure. But anyhow, I have The Outpost by Daphne Perry. This is about Sabrina.
You really do have a judo one?
Oh no, that was for Taekwondo.
Yeah, that's what you're confusing me.
Yeah, I'm very confused as well. Obviously, never mind. I'm sorry, I couldn't do both Taekwondo and judo. Okay.
I'd like to see.
I can't do any physically. I can't do anything. No, you don't want to see.
Okay. Then we have modern pentathlon.
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 No.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, then next is called roller sport, and then in parentheses they put skateboarding. Is like roller sport what everyone else calls skateboarding, and us Americans call it skateboarding? Is this like a football soccer situation? Like, I don't know. So I have Brazen by Allie Dean. I have not read it. But when I was looking for books, I found it, and I just didn't get enough time to get it read before we did this video. And since it's the Olympics, we kind of have to put the video out on time. So maybe somebody else has read it. Let us know what you thought of it. But the heroine is a skateboarder, and she meets like up with, I believe, a skateboarder who's like famous, and somehow they get connected. And I'm not really like, I haven't read it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, somebody read it and let us know if it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then we have rowing.
We didn't have anything for rowing.
Again, it was assigned to you and you didn't do it.
Look, I got you kayaking. I gave you row for rowing. There we go.
I was messing with you.
I mean, the author did say Dylan Page, when she wrote row, the reason why it's named row is because when she was writing the book, the song row, row, row your boat was going through her brain the whole time. That is what she said on her Facebook page and Facebook group. So, okay, next.
It is safe for me to take my flags out this time, right? You're not going to call me and tell me I have to re-flag everything.
The file was corrupted. Yeah, because we'd taken all of our flags out. We'd like put all of our books away, and then we're like, oh no. So yeah, a little bit. So
okay. So next, it says rugby sevens. I do not know enough about rugby that I don't know what rugby sevens means. Yeah. So I'm just going with good old rugby.
Yes.
And this is one that probably everyone is going to think of when we talk about rugby, but it is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Highly recommend the first 4 books in this series. 5 stars, favorite books. The first 2 have a lot more rugby than the next 2. And then the 5th book was, I didn't care for it. I know lots of people loved it. And nobody is more upset that I did not love it than me. I wanted to love it so much.
Yeah.
So we have Johnny and Shannon. Shannon has a horrible, horrible home life. It is difficult to read about on page. So if that stuff bothers you, this might not be the series for you. But Shannon has this horrible home life, and she's bullied horrifically at school. And so her mom, I think in a way of overcompensating for what's happening in their home life, gets her into a private school. And on her first day, she's walking, and she walks across the pitch where she's not supposed to be. She doesn't realize she's not supposed to be there. She's just trying to get to class quickly. She gets hit with the rugby ball, and Johnny is the one who's responsible. So he runs over to attend to her, and he is on the cusp of like going worldwide with like rugby. I don't know what exactly it was called, but he's like, people in town really know him, and he's going to be a professional rugby player. And he runs over to tend her, takes her to the office while Shannon's mom shows up and like lays into him because she assumes that it was a bullying situation again and forbids them from seeing each other. But Johnny is really kind of takes a liking to Shannon, and that's where that goes. And oh, it's so good. Okay.
I do just want to make a note that when we were talking with Karen, and I think it was during her interview, she told us that they had rugby, some kind of rugby in Australia that is different than rugby. And I don't know if it's different than rugby 7. I have
no idea. So if you know about rugby, tell us in the comments.
Yeah. Karen Crompton, do you know? Because, you know. Okay. Anyhow. My rugby book is called My Life in Shambles, and it's by Karina Halley.
That is not correct.
Yes, it is.
Your rugby book was Pixie and the Player.
But I read both, and
that is what you had me put on the list.
Yes, and I changed my mind before we recorded. Because I looked at the 2 and I went, you know what? My Life in Shambles, I think, was a tish bit better. Anyhow.
A what bit better?
A tish. Kind of like a dash.
I think you made up a tish.
No. Google it while I do this.
Okay.
Anyhow, this is about Valerie. Valerie finds out that her boyfriend, I think he cheated on her. They break up. their relationship falls apart. And so she decides that she is going to start saying yes to things, like yes to new adventures and yes to seeing the world and just saying yes in general to things that are offered to her in life. If it's offered and it's positive, she's going to say yes. So her sisters ask her to go to Ireland for, you know what, leave my Tish alone, okay? Go to Ireland for, I didn't say Tush, I said Tish, for New Year's. And so she decides, yes, I'm going to go to Ireland with my sisters for New Year's. And that is where she meets Padraig and ends up having a one-night stand with the hot Irish rugby player. And Padraig is a rugby player. He is not playing currently because he's having some symptoms of something. They're not 100% sure what's going on. You know, he's taken a few hits to the head, guys. Like, he really has. It's rugby. And so he's dealing with that. But anyhow, they have a one-night stand. Somehow that one-night stand and her saying yes to everything leads her to being his fake fiance and going back home with him to the small Irish town that his family is from, which is called Shambles. This book is way more emotional than I thought it would be. It had a lot more to it than I thought it would just be like this straight up sports romance, but there was so much more to this book. But that was my rugby. Who's Irish? There's an Irish accent in the audio. Go get it.
Where did you hear a Tish bit better? Did you just make it up?
No! Probably from my grandparents.
Well, there's a Bible reference when you look it up, so I'm wondering.
I definitely got it from Grandma and Grandpa then.
If it was just misused.
We make up our own stuff. We're good. I think it's the hillbilly in us.
In you. Not in the collective us on the screen.
No, in me. Mm-hmm.
You won't hear weird sayings coming out of my mouth. Next, we have sailing. So
I have one. Do you have one too? You have one,
do.
Yeah. Okay.
So for my sailing book, it is like, it's not competitive sailing, but I have A Father's Bliss by Lee Jacques. Again, yes. Do you really know that's how we say her name?
I don't. I'm just making a guess here. Whether it's an educated guess or not is to be probably not. But I'm just making a guess.
Okay. So we have Renee, who works at this company that her dad also works at. And her dad has this like kind of workplace nemesis. And he is around the same age as her dad, but he is hot. And Renee kind of has some feelings for him, but Renee dated his son for like a year. She's no longer dating the son. And he asked her, so this would be Marcus, asked her to come to a work dinner. And she's like, well, only if it's a work dinner. Well, the work dinner quickly escalates and they end up on his sailboat. And lots of things are sailing.
Okay.
This is part of the Holly Knight series, so it is definitely like the smutty novella, but it was good.
Okay.
And if you want to read about sailing,
that has the sailing.
Some sailing.
Okay. Well, I have one that you and I've both read that we both really enjoyed, and that is Surviving Rain by Shay Savage. So this is about Sebastian, who is the captain of a schooner. And he uses it to, like, he caters to the elite and he goes out like on, you know, like a party boat, like it's a tour thing and go do that. And then you have Rain. She's a lot younger than him. There's an age gap situation going on. By the way, Sebastian is an alcoholic. Really big, like really, he's an alcoholic. And so, So Rain is on a trip and she decides to take this pleasure cruise with a bunch of other people on Sebastian's boat. And then a storm happens and the boat ends up sinking. And Sebastian and Rain end up on a deserted island together. And poor Captain Sebastian does not have alcohol anymore. So not only do they have to survive, he's going through withdrawal. And he's kind of grumpy, but it's so good. It's all told from the point of view of Sebastian. It's all told from the male POV, which you wouldn't think works, but the couple of books that I've read by Shay Savage are all that way, and they're so good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, what's next?
Shooting.
Any Mafia book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have our soccer, but the rest of the world calls it football.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have one. Do you?
Yes.
Okay. So I have The Forbidden Man by Karina Halley. Karina Halley. So we have Talia.
Probably Talia.
I can't remember. Talia makes way more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And Talia works she's a sports therapist, and she works for this team that I can't remember if it was her husband or her boyfriend. I think it was her husband. And he cheats on her. And so they end up getting a divorce. And she quits her job because it's just too painful to see him every day. And she wants to kind of start fresh. So she gets lucky enough to get a new job with a different team. But here she's like, I'm not going to date anybody. Like, I'm not going to risk my job and have to start my life completely over again over some man. And she is, I want to say she's 40. And she is working there, and one of the players is Alejo. And right, Alejo? Did I say that right?
Mhm.
I always second guess myself when I read the names. Alejo is like in his early 20s. He's like one of the star players, but he hits on her like fiercely. And she tries to keep him at an arm's length. And that is why he is the forbidden man.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a brain fart. I have Surrender by Amy Dawes. This is the first book in a duet. This is about Sloane and Gareth. Sloane is our heroine, and she is, when the book starts, she's married. She has a little girl who, when she was 6 months old, she got a brain tumor. It was a cancerous brain tumor, and she's gone through treatment, and now her little girl is 4 and then turns 5 in the book, and they're just kind of trying to make it to that mark where she's been cancer free for 5 years. No, trying to make it to her 6th birthday. Anyhow, what else? There's some PTSD from the fact that she had a little girl that was sick and had a brain tumor. Anyhow, so she is a personal stylist to a lot of these elite soccer players. And that is where we meet Gareth. Now, Gareth is the oldest brother. This is the 4th book in the Harris Brothers series. But I read this as a standalone. I haven't read the other ones. But he is the oldest brother. And he has a lot of responsibility. Their mom died from breast cancer when he was young, and dad was a professional footballer as well. And so the kids were kind of raised on the pitch, and they were raised around all these professional football players. But he has this thing of he doesn't like certain textures, he doesn't like tags, he doesn't like certain things. And she really gets that. Sloane really gets that. So she becomes his personal stylist, but he doesn't know, he knows she's married in the beginning, but he doesn't know that she has a daughter or anything that she's going through. She keeps her personal life separate from her work life. And then her personal life falls apart. And when it does, she ends up having we're not going to even call it a one night stand. It's a one closet stand with Gareth one day. And they both realize, so he has a lot of responsibility on him because he's the oldest and he's been taking care of his siblings, or he had taken care of his siblings. She doesn't feel like she has any control because her life is just spiraling. So when they're in the bedroom, she orders him around, and then he realizes that he likes that. So she likes it because she can have some control, and he doesn't. This book spans over a couple of years, and we see a few gaps in time or time jumps, but they make sense when they happen. So, but yeah, he is the captain of the Manchester team. So,
Right. Okay.
Next.
Swimming.
That's on you. You got swimming.
Okay.
Okay.
I know that I have more books that have swimming, but this is the one that I could think of. And it's Time for Us by L.M. Halloran. And this is about Celeste and Lucas and Jeremy. And they are best friends since the time that they're little, and the 3 of them grow up together, staying best friends. And Celeste and Jeremy enter into a relationship in their later teen years. and then get married. And so I believe she's like 20, 21 when he goes off in the military, and she is pregnant with their baby, and he gets killed. And so she has the baby by herself. And Lucas briefly shows up for the funeral and then leaves. And she never, this is their best friend, and she never sees him again for 12 years. And then he comes back to town, and he's buying like this summer camp place that had meaning to the three of them when they were younger. And he works for this big development company. And so they end up, it's a small town, so they end up back in each other's orbit again. But when they were in high school, he was on the swim team, and I believe he was the captain.
Okay.
And then, yeah, there's some swimming that takes place at the camp lake, too.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Works for me.
It's a very good book.
Mm-hmm.
I cried.
Okay.
All right. Next, we have surfing.
That's you again.
I thought we had a video of you surfing for demonstration.
Let me go find one where I'm completely under the water and the surfboard is upside down, just floating out there. I wouldn't even know the first thing about surfing. Stay on the board.
Probably a good idea. All right. Well, you know who does know how to surf? Bo.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Hellbent by Karen Crumpton. This is a 2-book series. So this is Hellbent, and then Heaven Sent is the second one. So Bo is your very typical surfer bad boy. So much so that he's been in trouble with the law already, and he is sentenced to community service. And so he has to work at this swimming pool, like, rec. Like around here, we'd call it YMCA types. But is the YMCA like everywhere?
In the States, at least.
Okay. So anyway, so he has to go work at this rec pool, and Corey works there as well. And Corey is an actual employee, not sentenced to time to community service. She is your typical good girl. And when Bo sees her, he immediately is taken, like he is smitten. And he is like, I'm going to have to clean up my act and change my ways. But he has some stuff that's really weighing him down that is hard for him to deal with. And I'm not going to give anything away, but I absolutely love the bad boy, good girl. Oh. Yeah. And Bo just, he is right there with it. Mm-hmm. And there is surfing and stuff in here. So, okay. Next up, synchronized swimming.
I can't do that, nor do I have a rec for that.
Table tennis.
It's ping pong. Go watch Forrest Gump.
Called table tennis here. I don't know. Okay, now is your moment to shine.
With Taekwondo?
To shine earlier, but now it's time.
Okay.
Taekwondo.
Okay. So like I said earlier, I'm not 100% sure if it was Taekwondo or Krav Maga or whatever it is, but it's some form of martial arts. It's true. So that is the
probably just horribly offended a lot of people right now.
I'm so sorry. If I did, I'm so sorry. I don't know. Okay. I'm ignorant. I do not know. But it is martial arts. And so we're just going to go with that. So this is The Outpost by Devaney Perry. This is about Sabrina and Bo. Sabrina is a reporter for the Seattle Times, and she busts a mafia ring, a mafia situation in Seattle. And so she has to flee. So she flees to Montana, where her best friend, or her college roommate best friend, lives with her man. And when she gets there, all the friends, as they do, like apparently these guys just have friends out their ears, and they all convene and decide that the best way to keep her safe with these bad guys looking for her is to take her to this outpost out in the woods, which is used for the forestry service, but it really is a place for people to go for respite and stuff during fire season, when the fire jumpers jump into the forest and try to put out the fires. That is what this place is. The refueling station with food. It's just a little tiny shack out in the woods. And so that is where Bo, who is the head of the Forest Service in that small town, and he's also been a fire jumper and he works with the fire jumpers, takes her up to the place. And she's there for like 8 months. And he comes and goes. But she wants to learn some self-defense stuff. And he's a black belt in something. And so he teaches her. So we do have that. I really am sorry, guys. I actually read this in June, towards the end of June. I still can't remember what it was, but he does it. All right.
Next we have tennis.
Did you want to talk to them about how you didn't get to go pro with tennis because somebody held you back?
Well, yeah, I could have been a tennis Olympian, but my practice partner.
We practiced one time.
So great. That's not true.
My brain only remembers one time, and I was not good. Okay. The hand-eye coordination was not there. But I am a badass at badminton, so make that make sense. I'm sorry I held you back.
I was good at badminton as well. And we'll just never know about my full tennis potential since I would hit the ball and would have to go chase it.
I did. I feel
every
bad
time.
You could be like uber famous and I could be like, my bestie's uber famous, but it's probably all my fault that you're not.
You owe me. You owe me a gold medal.
All right, I'll get my Cricut out and work on that for you. Okay.
So tennis, I have Love Game by Emma Scott. And this is about Kai. Kai is a really good tennis player. He must have a good partner. And so
because you didn't.
So he is doing very well in the tennis world, and he's like a pro tennis player. And the Australian Open is coming up, and the last match before that, he's a little hot tempered, and tennis is considered a gentleman's sport, and that is not Kai. And he likes to kind of have a tantrum a little bit on the court if things don't go how he wants them to go. And so he ends up he's gotten into so much trouble that he is told, this is your last warning. Next time you're banned from tennis for life. And so he has about 2 weeks before the Australian Open. So he's in Hawaii, just supposed to be relaxing and getting his head on straight. And his agent goes and finds this girl who does Reiki.
Reiki.
Huh?
It's Reiki.
It's Reiki.
Oh, it's sounded out. Did you do that? It's phonetically put in our notes,
Yes.
In our comments.
It was Reiki.
Reiki. Got it. Okay, good. Woo,
which I believe I've tried to say before, and you shoot me down every time.
Because every time I hear you say it, I'm like, that doesn't feel right. And then I try to say it in my head, but all I hear is you saying it. And then I'm like, I get very confused.
Okay. So Reiki.
Okay.
Reiki. Mm-hmm. So she is still learning, but the agent is like, I really need you to come do this. So she agrees. But Kai is not into, as he calls it, voodoo stuff. And so the start of their working relationship is a little bit turbulent. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of reference to tennis in it.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to send everybody to past Jessica and Mandy when we were 3 days younger than we are now to finish the video.
Next is track and field.
You have that one.
I do. I have Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. So here we have Olivia. Olivia is she's in track, she's a runner, she's in college. She has just gotten transferred to a different college because she gets herself into a lot of trouble and is not well liked in the running college community. The coach at the new college that she's at, Whit, is not happy about her coming there because he's like, I don't need to deal with a troublemaker that I need to babysit type thing. So he's not happy about it. There's so much more going on in this book though. And eventually we end up with a coach athlete
situation.
Yes, in here. Whit's also dealing with a whole bunch. He's got a lot of responsibilities at home with his family farm that's failing. And so he's just kind of a stressed out arsehole to start with. But so much more is going on. And I'm not doing this book justice. I'm sorry. Very, very good though. And it really does center around running. Okay.
What's next?
Triathlon.
No.
You were going to demonstrate for the good people at home. Okay, volleyball.
I have a volleyball. Do you have a volleyball?
I do.
Okay.
Go for it.
So my volleyball is Blitz by Devaney Perry. This is also football, American football. This is about Jensen and Torin. Jensen is our volleyball player. Torin is the assistant coach at the Treasure State Wildcats, or that college. So it's Treasure State Wildcats book 2, but it can be read as a standalone, but he is a college coach for football. We start out on the 4th of July, and Torin is having his annual bash at his house. He has a huge party, and this year a lot of people have showed up that he has no clue who these people are, and one of those is Jensen. He sees her across the field or across his yard, and there's just an instant connection. She ends up staying the night with him that night, and then a few weeks later when school starts up, he realizes that she is the new ringer that has been brought in. She's transferred from Stanford to Montana for reasons, and she is the big old volley, like she could go to the Olympics for volleyball kind of a thing. She's really good at volleyball. Her mom was a volleyball Olympian, and he realizes that he was sleeping with a student. Now she is a senior in college, but they also find out that she moved in next door with the 2 other girls from the volleyball team, and he has no clue. So it is a forced proximity. They can't stay away. It's taboo. It's age gap. It's the whole thing. So there's my volleyball. Okay, what's yours?
Okay, mine is called It's All in How You Fall by Sarah Henning. This is YA, and it does feel YA. It was still good. We have Caroline, who is a gymnast. She's only 15 in the book. That's why it's like really YA. But she gets hurt and can no longer compete. And that's been a big part of everything that she's been doing. So she's struggling a little bit. So Alex, who is her brother's best friend, steps up, and he excels in sports. He's doing like 3 sports. He's a little bit older, but still in high school, and he's doing like all these sports and stuff. And so he says, you just need to like find a new sport. So he agrees to like try out different sports with her. And one of them that they do is volleyball. They do tennis, they do golf, they do lots of stuff in here. So all around very sportsy book while they try out different things. And in turn, feelings start to develop.
Of course.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, what's next?
Next, we have water polo.
I do not have anything for water polo. Do you really?
I do.
I'm so impressed.
You know this book. I've talked about it.
Oh yeah.
Treading Water.
Yep.
By B. Sob Jenkin.
Yep.
Okay. So we have Sage, who does water polo.
Cool.
We have Fallon, who is the coach. Sage is an Olympic hopeful. So this is everything basically takes place around water polo and like her training. And this is it's a novella. It's very kind of quick and to the point. And she actually dedicates the book to any girl who's ever had a crush on her coach. And so this is, there's really not a lot else to say there.
No. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next.
It's good though. Next we have weightlifting.
I don't have anything for weightlifting.
You said you were going to demonstrate these that we didn't. When we talked about this video, you said anything.
So can I have a 5-pound weight?
No, I have weightlifting.
Okay.
Okay, so I have The Wild Side by R.K. Lilly. And this is about Alistair. And he goes by Dare, that's like his nickname. So he works out at the gym, and there's quite a bit of gym references, and it's like all weightlifting. So that's why I picked this for that. And Derek is 40. Was married for a very long time to like his high school sweetheart. So like 20 years, just got divorced about a year ago. And he doesn't really know, like, he looks at himself as like he's old. His wife like really kind of did a number on him, his ex-wife. So his self-esteem is maybe a little bit down, but he spends like hours at the gym. And this is where Iris shows up, and Iris is much younger than him. And Iris pursues him heavily, and he doesn't really know what to think about it. And he's just like, you're too young for me. And one day she needs a ride home, and he agrees. And she's like, he asks her where he's going to drop her off at. And she's like, let's go to your house. And so he gives in. You know how that's going to go. So then the book pretty much ends up being about 70% of them hooking up. And it is listed as erotica, but it was really good. The sex scenes are always very different. It doesn't feel repetitive, even though it's like literally banging. 70% of them banging, and 30% of him wondering where she's disappeared to. There's a little bit of a mystery there.
Okay. All right.
Very good.
All right.
Oh, and then my phone went to sleep. And then we have wrestling.
I didn't do anything for wrestling.
And then you
Alternatively, croquet. Croquet is an Olympic sport.
No, it is not.
What is it?
It used to be a summer
not
Olympic
now.
sport. It is no longer, but Jessica really wanted to talk about croquet.
I was like, oh, I have a book that has
sport
croquet
she
in it.
excels at.
I actually probably don't excel at that either. I'm not sporty. But I told Mandy, The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is the second book in the Bridgerton series, has croquet in it. It has croquet in it. And I remember it was like towards the end, but they do have croquet in that one. So for those who don't know, this book is about Anthony and Kate. Anthony is engaged to Kate's, he's like the town rake. And finally decides to settle down. He has to do it for the family. He's the oldest brother, and he gets engaged to Kate's younger sister. But there is something between him and Kate, and it just kind of goes from there. I will say that the TV show does differ from the books, and I prefer the books over the TV show, but that is just me. So, then again, that's the only Bridgerton book I've read, so.
All right.
Okay.
Way to sneak croquet in there.
I snuck croquet in. All right, so that is it. Those are your Olympic books. Hopefully you can find something that's a little more entertaining than watching people play golf on TV. Why would you hit me?
Because the Olympics are fantastic.
Not if you're watching golf on TV.
Anyway.
So if you'd rather be reading a book, we have a lot of books here for you.
Yes, so
Otherwise, enjoy your Olympics.
Enjoy the Summer Olympics, whether it's reading books or watching it on TV.
Olympics,
or maybe you do both at the same time.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. Hit that notification button because we do like to drop surprise videos. And tell us all about the Olympics. Do you like watching them? Are you going to read? What do you think about the Olympics? Talk to us.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.